Hi, babes. Welcome back to the Chase Life with Kelly podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Chase. Today, I have such an incredible guest on the show with us today. Guys, I have been following this woman, I believe, since 2017 or 2018. So I have, she probably is going to think I'm obsessed with her, but I literally know so much because I follow her stories and I follow her posts, and she's just an incredible woman. She's so embodied. So let me do a little introduction to give a little bit more background on her before I bring her in to the show. Lauren Eliz Love is a self-healing teacher, spiritual mentor, and entrepreneur dedicated to guiding women through profound personal transformation. After overcoming early life trauma, addiction, and chronic illness, she experienced a spiritual awakening in 2014 that led her to leave her corporate job as a TV producer in New York City and embark on a journey of deep healing and self-discovery. Lauren founded the Heal program, a comprehensive life transformation experience that combines mindset techniques, somatic practices, and spiritual teachings to help women heal from trauma and align with their highest selves. She also created the Wild Wealthy Feminine method, empowering entrepreneurs to build authentic, soul-aligned businesses. Through her online courses, retreats, and podcast, Lauren shares her insights on healing, spirituality, and personal growth, inspiring thousands to reclaim their power and live a purpose-driven life. Lauren Eliz Love, welcome to the Chase Life with Kelly podcast. Hello.
Hey girl. This is gonna be so fun. I'm so pumped.
I
So
am
excited to be here.
I am so excited. I was like, oh my God. I have, probably, so I was on your podcast after the show aired. As we were just talking about before I started recording. And like so much has changed probably in your world, my world. I mean, I've been following you for years prior to the show and me being on your podcast, but just I've had you as I want her to come on my show. And even more so now too, because I'm like, it's like you just have so much of a story. And I'm like, I want her to tell all the things. It's just so neat. I'm so
Mm.
inspired by all of you. So it's really,
Thanks.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like just to speak to that, I feel like it's so important as women that we do this in general. Like women come together, share their stories, talk about what they've been through. I certainly got so much value when you came on my podcast years ago. So it's really nice to have that full circle and with all of our evolution and all the different versions of ourselves that we've become and evolved in and out of between then and now. I'm just so pumped to be here. So let's do
Let's do it.
it.
Okay. So a lot of my listeners may not know of you. So tell us who you are and your story.
Oh
Take us
man.
back
Yeah. Where do we start? Wow. Well, um,
2024.
it's 2024. Yeah, so I'm a bit of like a wild woman in the sense that you know, I think like many of us who are trying to chase freedom and joy in our lives, we grow up kind of questioning authority, really being like, well, why am I told to do things this way? And why is this important to me? And you say that I should value this, but I really don't. And why is that? So I think growing up, like most of us, I just felt like misaligned with the way that I was taught to prioritize things of importance to me. And those were like get married, get a white picket fence, get a 401k, have a great job, 2 weeks vacation. And, I did all the things I was supposed to do, but nothing really landed with me. And the reason it never felt good was because I wasn't actually fully connected to myself. I was connected to what everybody else wanted me to be connected to. And it was this very like big wake up in my life where I realized I needed to do a lot of healing. And that was what started my personal development journey was really waking up to that like, wow, this is not important to me. Who am I? And for probably I would say about 10 years, I went through this journey of really unraveling those identities and those constructs to really get to the core of who I am, right? And I'm Lauren. So hi guys, I'm Lauren. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years in the online space. And before that, I was just healing myself and working on myself when I realized I wanted to share and help other women do the same. And who I am is always changing because I'm always growing and evolving. But right now, in this current point in time, I'm really dedicated to helping women turn on their power and rewire their relationships with purpose, their voice, their relationship to money, and really through deep trauma healing, clear those resistance frequencies and those blocks to really create what we want in life. And there's a whole story of how that happened for me, but maybe we'll just leave it at that for the intro and we can go from there. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so I obviously since I've been following you for a while, I know things. What so you worked corporate
Mhm.
America, and what were you doing and when did you decide to get into the online space?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I went into television news. I was a CBS News producer. I worked for Charlie Rose and Gayle King and Nora O'Donnell and all these like well-known CBS News celebrity people. And I ran, not, I helped produce content that were up for the national broadcast shows. It's interesting because the reason I got into that job was because I really loved telling stories and I loved using things like words and video and expression to be able to do that. But the problem was I was telling stories of suffering all day, every day, right?
Mm,
It was what is sensational, what's going to get everybody's attention, what's going to make people afraid and create chaos. That was unconsciously what we were doing every day. And as I was waking up to my own personal values, that really started to feel unhealthy for me. I began drinking a lot. I began developing really unhealthy mental relationship with self, right? A lot of like horrible shame talk and judgment and insecurity. And I felt myself being pushed out of that path in so many ways. It's like when you're in a career that you hate, you can either walk away from it or the universe will make that job even more horrible so that you are forced to let go of it. And that was really what happened for me. And I remember this very interesting moment because I used to like I worked midnight to 9 a.m. Okay, my last leg of my career, midnight to 9 a.m. And I would huddle down in my editor's booth. And before my editor came and I was the producer, I would spend like 3 or 4 hours researching bloggers and being like, oh my God, like, did you ever follow The Skinny Confidential? Or, yeah, like, but the early days when she was like just a blogger and there was no big company, I was watching what was happening and these people were just making money off of their lifestyles that were embodied. And I found that so fascinating. Like, before Instagram, before TikTok, like, these people are creating livings in their alignment. That's incredible. And
mm,
so for years, I would watch that growth. And at one point, I was just like, I have to do it. So I quit my job and it was 2015. And it was terrifying and scary and so emotionally overwhelming. But yeah, to see other people do that was really inspiring me and what caused me to take the leap.
I love that. Okay. I love that. I feel like, I mean, a similar story with me in the sense like 2017, that was like when I decided to leave corporate America. Granted, I've been back in corporate America twice now too, but it was very much the essence of when I was working, because I was, it was a side hustle for me for a while, the coaching aspect of things. And I was getting messages like, you're changing my life. And so with that, I'm like, well, okay, I've been in corporate America for 10 years. Like,
Mm,
no one has ever told me I'm changing their life. Like, what a rewarding,
true.
you know? So yeah, summer of 2017, I was like, I have to lean into this. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'll go back into corporate America. Like, okay, it's fine. But
Yeah.
but it's just neat. Like we just have to like take those risks and see what unfolds for us.
We do. And I think, I don't know if you experienced this, maybe you could share, but like the hard part of that is you see a timeline for your life that nobody else is responsible for holding the vision for. We want them to, right? We want our parents to say, hey, that's a great idea. And we want everybody in our world to be encouraging. But the truth is, it's nobody's job to hold the vision with you. It's their job to be kind and supportive and
Mm,
like really be good people and ally in your life. But at the end of the day, you're holding this vision that nobody else sees, right? So I don't know if you dealt with that, like dealing, but I certainly did having to deal with like a lot of that criticism and the confusion from people around you. Like, what are you doing? I don't
mm,
get it, you
mm.
know?
Yeah, yeah, it was definitely that. I mean, I had, when I left that corporate job, I had $20,000 in savings, which I was like, I feel rich. That feels great. So,
Better than me. I had nothing, man. Oh
so
my God. Good for you.
I like went on a solo trip to Denver for like 12 days. My mom's like, you quit your job and you go on a trip. That makes a lot of sense, but do you, Cal, do you? I'm like, okay, fine, but I was, it was the coaching and I was working with like as an independent contractor for an all audio-based fitness app. So I had like both incomes, I guess. Not
Yeah.
making a lot. I mean, it was like enough to pay bills and have that extra, a little bit of extra money, right? To like go do things. But that 20,000, I was like, okay, cool. But that 20,000 went real quick.
Oh, it goes real quick,
Real quick.
especially if you've been really unfulfilled and then
Yeah.
you have this like big explosion opportunity of freedom with resource and time, right? That's where it gets really dangerous when we're like, I have that and it's temporary and I've never had it before. It's like the kid who finally has the box of cookies in the cabinet, like nom 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 nom, and
Yeah.
don't stop, and that until the end, and it's such a challenge. But healing our relationship with money, I talk about this a lot in my programs that money and how we treat it is such a deep metaphor for relationship to self. And it's a really beautiful invitation to see that. And also, I, I would do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just like, but I felt like it was all healthy investments. I mean, I had invested in a coach at the time, like,
Yeah.
and then I started throwing things on an American Express card and that just, it wasn't terrible, but, in hindsight, there are certain things I don't regret any of that, but like after like Love is Blind aired and I was making money on brand deals, I started paying off the debt versus taking that money and saving it.
Oh, okay.
So I was still like scraping by with
Chasing your karma. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. So in hindsight, I wish I had done that stuff differently, but regardless. But it was funny because we filmed Love is Blind while I was still out of corporate, and then I lost that contract job like after filming. And so all I had to go off of was my coaching, and I worked with a business and mindset coach like right after filming because what we do, we avoid, we distract. And like I was just like not in a good headspace. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go like all in on my business. I'm gonna hire this business coach. I'm gonna make all the money and blah blah blah. And I had never done the mindset work.
Mm,
So I needed the mindset work. And I was like, holy shit. And so I started to kind of like incorporate the mindset stuff into like what I was already doing. But my engagement started to drop because I wasn't like posting nutrition and fitness anymore. I started
mm.
to evolve and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to get clients? Like my people aren't seeing my stuff as often. Like it was just a lot. And obviously my nervous system wasn't available to support it. It just was so rocky,
Yeah.
unhealed. And so I didn't have coaching clients. I didn't have any money coming in at all. And my parents were like, Kelly, you need to get a job. I think they did support me for like a month or two, like rent wise. And they were like, fine, we'll give you like 2 more months to like figure this
Mm.
out. But after that, like you're either gonna move back home and we're gonna sell your condo or something. And I was like, don't, I'm not going anywhere. So yeah, so I went back in the corporate space after that.
I think it's really common for people to go through these like death and rebirth kind of portals of their identity as entrepreneurs. And I don't think, well, I know there's a lot of people here who may not be entrepreneurs, right? We're all on this path to purpose. And I think that our purpose as we grow and evolve and change and deepen in our relationship with self, we have to understand and respect that that relationship to purpose is going to change. And it's going to require us to let go of aspects of our identity that no longer align and certain interests and passions that change and certain topics we want to talk about. The problem, I think, with this identity of purpose is that we learn in school that purpose is like a choice and a definitive choice. You're a doctor, you're a teacher, you're a nurse, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. And that confined kind of structure, we feel so confused by that because as we start to grow and change, we want to break that structure. So like I see this from so many people who are like, I'm the fitness coach, but now I'm not because I woke up and self-love is really important and mindset work is so important. And now I'm posting about that. And I'm getting triggered by all these numbers and everything that's happening and the response and the energy. Change is a lot to hold. It's a lot to hold, but this is why the mindset is so important. Like I realized when I was in this journey of going from my corporate life into entrepreneurial life, one of the big wake ups for me was recognizing that I was the common denominator of the old job, the entrepreneur path that was new, my relationships, my family dynamic. I was the common denominator in all of them, and they all sucked. So, like, what was going on? And it was me. It was me to me. So, yeah, for anybody out there who's trying to understand why they're not where they want to be or like why they can't create what they want in life, that self to self study is the most important study you're going to have in this lifetime because it's the only thing you'll take with you when you die. It's like the core, right? You die, you go, I learned these lessons. Cool, right? And your identity is in that awareness. So, yeah, just to say, I get you. I understand.
Yeah.
It's crisis, rebirth. I've been through so many of them so many times.
Yeah.
And to be held in that is really important.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It definitely is. That's what I was saying. I was like, probably could use therapy around certain things still, but I have a lot of
Hmm.
awareness and, do what I can and hold myself as much as I can too. So it's good in that regard. But
Yeah, and also therapy, like I go to therapy sometimes. Like it's great, so normalizing that support, I think there's a difference between that and its placement in life versus like some of the other stuff too. But
yeah,
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 all important.
all important. Yes. Okay. So things that come up for me that I want you to dive into, I'd like for you to dive into, your healing journey from Lyme disease
Hmm.
and but also significant sexual traumas.
Hmm.
If how they were related, if they weren't related, all the things, what you did, that has been probably like, the most profound thing I've witnessed you sharing your journey and how vulnerable and just raw you are with your audience. And it's just, again, like it's very inspiring to me. So would love for you to dive into that.
Yeah, thank you for holding that space. I feel like it is a part of my life path that I feel will always be a cornerstone of my initiations in life. It's like that was important. Yeah, so what I can start in saying is that my beliefs may not resonate with everybody. I think that when we're healing and we're learning and we're growing, we have to really identify what beliefs resonate with us and what don't. Me personally, I really resonate with the truth that every physical ailment that manifests in our life has an energetic and emotional component to it. And that makes me feel really empowered because it's like when I have a back issue or when I'm feeling brain fog or when I got Lyme disease as a diagnosis, I didn't just study how to heal in the physical realm. I was also trying to understand the energetics and the emotional components that were tied to it, right? So the timeline of this story for me is that I was at the peak of my entrepreneurial career at the time. I have a new peak now, but this was back in 2019. And I was noticing that there was a lot of unsettled, I want to use the word bullshit, but like trauma patterns that were just continuously in my field. Like I was always stressed about money, no matter how much I made. And I was always feeling like I didn't know if I was supposed to be married or not. And I wouldn't feel safe and couldn't like stay in that relationship and be committed because I was always like, is this right? Is this wrong? I don't know. I
Mm,
always felt like, you know, no matter how many followers I got on Instagram, I still had this kind of energy of, well, there needs to be more and I need to get more and I don't have enough. And I was getting really tired because when you start to make a lot of money and those things are happening, money is an amplifier to the awareness of those patterns. It's like the more money you make, when you're a toxic person, you become more toxic, right? When you have trauma, the more money you make, the more insecure and stressed out you can feel about safety and security. And most people think it's the other way around. It's like, well, if I had a lot of money, then I would feel safe. It doesn't work like that, right? So I was expanding, and as I was expanding, all of these emotional patterns were getting stronger and stronger and stronger. My backstory is really important, and I will say, like, I don't often use trigger warnings, but because I'm in somebody else's space, like just to be respectful, I would like to talk openly about my sexual trauma. And so if this doesn't feel good, you can like fast forward however much time you need. But yeah, I'm a survivor of something that I don't know how to call it. I was raped. I attempted suicide 2 weeks after. It was very traumatic for me. I had agoraphobia where I was afraid to leave my house. I was feeling like someone was going to attack me at any given moment. And what I experienced in that incident was not just a violation of my body, but it was also watched. So it was really, really traumatic. And it brought up a lot of energies of, I am not safe, right? And what was happening for me was that in my adult life, because I didn't really process that, I was like, I recovered from that. I went through that. It happened to me. But I was like, all right, it happened to me. Move on. Like my family taught me. But those frequencies were getting louder and louder and louder, where depression was really strong, and I would overwork a lot to try to create safety for myself. And I never felt like I could be safe with the man who I love and supposed to spend the rest of my life with. Like, what is going on with me? And so I had a lot of mental health challenges from that trauma when it happened. And I just really never actually held space to process that. Now, something to explain too is that I believe that, and thank you for letting me share this. Like, I feel,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really great. Yeah, it's beautiful. I could tell it's like emotional. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah, it's a safe thing to be able to talk about our traumas, right? I noticed when I was in that process, weird physical things were starting to happen too. My hair started to fall out like clumps in the shower, and I was getting really nervous. And then I would lose track of my ability to focus when I was looking at things. And then it became I see that there's a bag on the table and I want to say get the bag, but I can't remember the word bag. And so all these weird, trippy things were starting to happen to my cognitive function because I was shutting down into such a deep state of freeze. And at the same time, I had unprocessed fight in my body. Now,
Mhm.
Lyme disease is an energy of fight. If you ever try to understand what Lyme disease is, the way I understand it is it's like this rattling frequency of fight or flight. It's these little bugs, they call them spirochetes, and they come into your body and they embed into systems in your field and make you really sick. And so this was all happening simultaneously, right?
Yeah.
Like trauma. Now I can't drive. Now I can't fly because I vomit when I'm on an airplane because the pressure is too intense for my body. Now I can't stand for long periods of time. I can't hold grocery bags. I can't walk up a flight of stairs. What's going on? Right. And so I was getting totally hijacked by this trauma that I wasn't looking at. And it got to a place where it got so serious, I decided to put this entire business operation on hold to really actually say, I gotta heal this. And when I started to heal, I healed on those three planes. And I want everybody, like, if you take away anything from this conversation, anything you are healing exists on three planes. I teach all of my students this in the Heal program. It exists on the physical plane, it exists on the emotional plane, and it exists on a spiritual plane. And if you can come back into wholeness and right relationship with those three things, you have closed a cycle and that will never repeat itself again. And so now I have wealth, I have peace, I have balance, I have health in my body. And all of that manifested because I was willing to really look at those deep components as well as taking care of my body. So I'm sure there's so much we can dive into on that. And yeah, it was such an important conversation.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like so was the Lyme and all of the other symptoms, was that because of the sexual trauma? Like it was manifesting, that was the physical manifestation of it.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So as humans, we want to understand root cause. That's something that we are always trying to identify. Why do I have depression? Is it my neurons? Is it I have low serotonin, dopamine? Let me find the pain point. Did I get bit by a tick that gave me a bacterial infection in my body? 100%. Why is that part of my life path? The one of my great teachers when I moved to Sedona for 9 months to heal. That was what I did. I got out of my life and I went and lived there for 9 months and I studied with some of the most amazing medicine people, shamanic practitioners, earth teachers. And one of the things that my teacher said to me is that illness is the healer because it wakes you up to how you are actually living your life. And it really forces you, if you allow and listen, to get radically honest about where you're not in right relation. My body was in a constant state of fight or flight because I had trauma. And if I was a peaceful, grounded person and got bit by a tick, I don't think my body would have responded in the same exact way, right?
Mm.
So it's like we're creating these kind of breeding grounds or infiltration systems of toxicity with our thoughts, our energy, our diet, 100%, right? Our trauma that's unintegrated. And then in that frequency, when something does come our way, it really does and can feel like a death sentence because we're not in a strength, we're in a suffering, and it matches that. So
Yeah.
healing the emotions, healing the physical body, healing your relationship with your wholeness, which is your spiritual path, all those things serve purpose.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I remember you take your videos or pictures of you having like a rash on the side of your body.
I couldn't shower, Kelly, like for months. It would burn, my whole body and skin would burn. It was literally attacking. And what was hard for me was like, I went to Western doctors. I told them something was wrong, and I was asked if I had a psychiatrist because people weren't taking me seriously. And I had to spend all this extra money to get a advanced lab panel out of pocket to finally see that not only did I have Lyme disease, but I had Borrelia, I had Babesia, I had anaplasmosis, which are all these co-infections that our Western medical system doesn't even identify. So it's really, and this is if I look at this, I see that this was a rewrite for when I was raped and didn't tell anybody and people thought she's just crazy. That was exactly what happened. Why did she go to the psych ward? Oh, she's just nuts. No, I was violently attacked. So when doctors were telling me no and dismissing me, it was that opportunity to rewrite that relationship with myself to say, actually, no, this is what's happening. And I fought for that. And that in and of itself is so empowering to have these moments as a trauma survivor where you get to do different.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love that. Okay, and okay, so you're married.
Married, yeah.
Yes, you're
Mhm.
married. And it's funny because you'll post sometimes about like that you're always on social media and he is not.
He's not, no.
It's so cute, but I love that that works for you guys, you know? It's very, I'm like, okay, I'm single, but I'm like, could I be with someone who doesn't want to show their face? Like, it's not a part of my like journey in that regard, you know? And when I see that of you, I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like, that's awesome that they can make that work.
Hmm. Thank you. Yeah, and I'll say I did not know how to make that work for a long time.
Yeah.
Like even I'm a very spiritual person. I on this path in Sedona just developed a really deep-rooted relationship with spirit and shamanic medicine and the plants and he doesn't do any of that shit. So like we have these two very big conflicts where there are two really big parts of my reality that he is not experiencing the same way I am,
Yeah.
you know? So it can feel very isolating, and we can talk about that too, if that's something
Yeah,
that you.
yeah, yeah. No, I would love for you to, because that
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of women who are listening, they may be in relationships and or marriages where maybe they feel like they're on different planes than their significant other. And I mean, I
Mhm.
feel like that's a really big thing that
It's huge.
is huge.
It's so huge. And you
Yeah.
know what I think too? I think about like if I was dating now, I would be so fucked because I mean, maybe not right now in this moment because I'm more integrated, but like, the dating world. First of all, I girl, hat to you because it's crazy the way that the dating world is now compared to where it was when I was dating. Oh my God, so much has changed. It's wild. And, one of the things that I think distorts that is all of the couples that we know and love and follow on social media who are very like, wow, look how cute they are. Wow, look at what they're doing together. Wow, look at the beautiful, loving relationship that they have. My husband hates that. And he hates that because it feels performative and it feels false. And I could tell myself a story and say, oh, he just doesn't get it. Or he doesn't understand. He's just insecure and doesn't want to show his face. I can also really look at this from a loving lens and go, wow, how beautiful is it that my husband feels so sacredly connected to our love that he doesn't want it to be performative. Like that moves me to tears. And for the longest time, I judged him so much. I was like, and it wasn't really about social media. I think I did a little bit, but it was more like the social media couples I used to see that were both really spiritual and like they're both wearing white and they have like their feather in their cap and they're traveling on Machu Picchu and they're saying prayers and it's so cool, right? Like
Right.
I want that. Like sing and play guitar with me. But really actually like God has a bigger path for me, and I don't need another version of myself to grow. I need something different. I need something to show me my blind spots and to allow me to be a human and bring me back to reality outside
Mhm.
of this matrix that is technology and social media marketing. And I thank God every day that I have that because it creates such a different dynamic than what I see other people moving through in their relationships when they are on social media. And that opens up a whole other can of worms that I just don't want to be a part of. So for me, it's like I thought I wanted things to be a certain way, and I'm realizing what I truly needed was what I have. And
Mm,
and it's amazing to see life that way.
that's neat. I
Yeah.
love I love that.
Yeah, you'll get it, girl. Are you dating now? Is that like where you are in this season? Do you have somebody in your life?
No, I don't. I mean, I've met someone who I feel like is the most aligned person for me just based on like conversations that we're having and just the ease of it,
Mm,
of like and how held and seen I feel like someone posted something about, like an underrated like green flag is like getting to nerd out about what you want to like nerd out
yeah,
about what you really enjoy,
yeah,
and like I feel like I can do that with this person,
I
and
like that.
not everybody that you can do that with, right? So but I feel like I'm just kind of I'm in a very aware and like healing space right now because I'm letting like God just kind of do its thing,
I
do its
like that.
thing, because I feel like I have in the past been the like anxious avoidant. And granted, I've done so much work on myself over the last 7 years that I have definitely become more of a secure person. And even in the last year, I recognize some of those like anxious attachment styles were still popping up. And I'm like, okay, if I have like total trust and faith in God, universe, source, creator, then why do I feel the need to like be so anxious? Like let it just
Mm,
happen. And I'm not like, yes, should I, can I pursue, can I go after things? Of course. And I've done that a little bit with this person. So I feel like I've done that. We're
mm,
just let it just be. If maybe we're just not on the right, it's just not the right timing or it's just not the right person. And that's okay. And I have to like sit with that. Although every single day I just want to like text them and be like, hey,
yeah.
how's life going?
That pattern used to show up for me in so many areas of my life because we're just trying to create safety and that's all we're doing. Like I think all of these patterns, anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, all of the trauma patterns we recreate for ourselves, it's like we really want to change them, of course, and we really don't want to replay things, but also like compassion for the fact that like you are just trying to make yourself feel safe. And if you see it that way and you're like, "Oh, yeah, okay, maybe I don't have to be so hard on myself." But safety is important. So how else can I feel safe? Like what can I do differently? So I've been really sitting with that because my attachment energy, does this happen for you where you get into what you're thinking the other person is thinking, or like, are they mad at you? Do they not like you? What did they feel? What did they, that used to happen for me all the time. And um, for me, that rumination is happening because I'm feeling unsafe.
Yeah.
So I have to do something about that so that I can feel safe. And sometimes that's having a conversation and saying, hey, I'm noticing this is happening and I just need to speak this. Other times it's like not having certain people in your life or putting up a boundary, saying no. So yeah, I think I don't know, it's a good perspective that's really helped me.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, honestly, yesterday, I feel like it's more like not necessarily like, well, it has been on a romantic level, of course, but like even just like acquaintances, people are, and I ran into someone yesterday where I was like, why are they so like, I was like, hey, how are you? And they're like, good.
Ah, yeah, you're feeling it.
And I was like, what? I don't understand. I mean, I've known this person for a very long time. That is the energy that I've always received from that person for the most part. But I'm like, what? Like, is that just who you are? You're just not a nice, kind person? Or
Mm.
did I do something to you? Like, to make, like, did I steal a friend? Like, what? Steal a boy? Did I sleep with a boyfriend? Like, I mean, what happened? Like,
Girl,
it's never, and there was a part of me yesterday afternoon that was like, you know what, there's like, I almost like want to reach out or like the next time I see this person, just be like, confront it and be like, what is this like
hmm
gross energy between us? Like, I feel like I'm a kind person, but like, what? I don't know. Like, it's fine if like I'm not looking to be your best friend. Don't want to be your best friend because of this. But like, what is it? Like,
Mm.
I don't want to associate with anyone like you. But it's like, is there something there? There's just a part of me that wants to like clear that air, but then I'm also like, but Kelly, why? Why do you need to?
Mm.
Why do you
Right.
like you see this person once every 6 months, maybe once every couple years, even like it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know, but it's just that safety. It is. It's like, well, I was, not fourth grade, when I was 4 years old in preschool, I had a girl tell me, like, you can't play with us. It was like, I wanted to play with the other girls in like house or kitchen or something. And they're like, you can't play with you can't play with us. And I feel like so whenever there is that mean girl energy, I guess, which doesn't happen often with me because I feel like I'm a likable person. But in that, I feel like that's the energy. And so it's probably just re-triggering that.
100%. Yeah, it's triggering that over and over. And that I think the way that I experience healing and the way that I teach it is understanding that if there's this expression, if you spot it, you got it, right? And so that expression kind of resonates with me sometimes because when I see somebody who is in their trauma patterns or they're struggling with something, if I can spot it, it means there's an aspect of me that has experienced that. I've had that before. I've witnessed that before. I can identify it. But if you feel it, you have found it. And this is something I remind people where if you are having an experience where something outside of you is making you feel a certain way that is negative, it is something you found within yourself that's being reactivated, being responded to, being turned back on. And your opportunity as you walk through your healing process is to ask, what did that 4-year-old version of me need that I didn't have? That would allow me to, in some way, shape, or form, come back to myself. Because in healing journeys, those old versions of you are still in your field, right? The 4-year-old version of you, you can find her if you close your eyes and you visualize her and you'll feel certain things versus the 14-year-old version of you or the 20-year-old version of you. And so I think that when we lose our wholeness in the 4-year-old version of us, she starts to kind of poke into this realm and give us these experiences where we feel and find. And we say, okay, how am I going to be actually the big sister to that 4-year-old me right now? Am I going to go up and go, hey, I just want a presence that I'm noticing that every time we connect, there's like this uncomfortable energy and I don't really know what that is, but it makes me feel a certain way. And so I just want to advocate for that and speak to you and say how I'm feeling, where, maybe you can tell me what's going on. Sometimes it's like, well, those aren't your fucking friends anyway, so who gives a shit, right? That's what the 4-year-old girl needed was big sister being like, fuck you, so, but honoring that and going into that and really actually seeing it as this place to like advocate and reparent yourself is huge. But it's so hard to do when we have people-pleasing patterns, we have codependency, we have all these things we're working through. So awareness is sometimes the best thing to celebrate. Like, wow, I noticed that.
Right. Absolutely.
It's great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will just celebrate all the awareness.
Yeah, celebrate the awareness, but also like this is for anybody who resonates with this. When somebody is at war with you, it's just a war within their own selves. Anybody who's at war with you is at war within themselves. And I recognize that. And to me, that's a sign of protection where the universe is redirecting me to be like, that's not the relationship for me, actually. So, yeah, just a little thought on that. It's hard,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah. No,
important.
thank you. I appreciate that. I'm just like, oh my God, does she hate me? Like,
No.
um,
And if she
okay.
does, that's okay.
Yeah, and that's okay. Exactly. Okay, so you with your healing journey, would love for you to speak on some of the plant medicines that you did, because I know you did a lot of things that I had never heard of before, and that was you were the person to introduce me to those things.
Oh,
So
what an honor.
I
Oh.
haven't done them, but I at least know what they are.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, cool. So where we start on this is the first medicine I ever explored was psychedelic mushrooms. And it was because my brain was really wreaking havoc with lots of depression, like we talked about. And I was a really big what is the opposite of an anti-advocate? Like, I was totally against taking pharmaceuticals at the time for myself because I firmly believe that that's what really kept the trauma so suppressed for so long was being medicated overly in an unhealthy way. And so I really just wanted to avoid going back into that. And a friend had said to me, mushrooms are really great for rewiring the neurons and really creating new neural pathways and repairing damage in your prefrontal cortex and how you think about things and see. But I'm a control freak, baby girl. Like, don't give me a psychedelic. I have no idea. Am I gonna lose my mind? Am I gonna act weird? I'm terrified, right? But she was so great. She's like, okay, here's how it's gonna work. We're gonna lay a mattress down on the floor. We're gonna put these beautiful candle lights that are gonna be plugged in and they'll be everywhere. And we'll give you a fuzzy blanket and you'll be in your pajamas and I'll put on candles and crystals and flowers everywhere and we'll play really beautiful music. And so my husband took me and we went and I had this profound moment where I finally felt an understanding of what like being present in love was. It was like, I don't feel afraid. I don't feel anxious. I don't feel insecure. I feel so grateful. Like that was all I felt was like just grateful. And I was crying and I'm like, this is what humans are supposed to feel, but we're so turned off from that because of social media and food and distraction and busy schedules and conveniences of Amazon shopping. So like it was, yeah, it was so cool. That was my introduction. And I knew that plants had more for me because in that moment I was full of gratitude, but I was also simultaneously crying in grief that I had spent 20 years of my life never knowing that feeling. Like that was so difficult to really understand. And so I knew there was a lot for me to move through. And I continued to kind of explore mushrooms with these sisters. And when I went to Sedona, it was after I'd found ayahuasca. So, ayahuasca is a psychedelic indigenous medicine from the jungles. It really is rooted in Central America in areas like Ecuador, Costa Rica as well. That's where I go a lot. Peru and all in Colombia and these areas kind of in the Amazon basin. All of these different tribes in the ancient times, we can just call them, they all got the same awareness from the earth to brew these two plants together, ayahuasca and chacruna, to activate DMT within the brain. And DMT is a chemical that your brain creates naturally. The most amount of DMT you experience is in your dream state when you're sleeping. So you see visions and you have weird trippy dreams, right? That's high levels of DMT in your body. You're going to a third dimensional realm. And it's also really strong when you're born and you die. And that's the closest you are to God. So the DMT molecule itself, it can be activated by drinking something, can be activated by smoking something. It can also be activated by breathing, right? This is like breath work when you're doing a breath work session. Ayahuasca does this. And the frequency of these plants, mushrooms are very playful. They're kind of like little children. Let's have a party. Hee hee hee. I'm going to show you everything you don't know. Look how great it is. Like they're kind of like they're that way. Los niños, the children, that's what they call them. Ayahuasca is a grandmother. So she's wise, feminine, ancient wisdom. And when you drink her, she shows you your shadow and the parts of yourself that you don't feel in right relation with. So the part of you that feels like you are not enough, the traumas you went through that you are not looking at, the stories that have been keeping you oppressed. Um, I have seen and facilitated now for so many dimensions of miracles with that medicine. Women who are so closed off that they actually don't know how to hug their children because they're so shut down emotionally. And they sit with medicine and they're now hugging their children every day. We had a woman on our last retreat. She had stage 4 breast cancer. She came back 6 months later to our next retreat to say, my cancer is gone. I'm in remission. There's miracles that really happen with this work. And it's because in that shamanic state where you're really calling on this divine frequency of wisdom to show you these parts of yourself, you are invited to let them go. It's not replaying trauma. It's not reliving it over and over again. It's seeing it in a new perspective. Um, yeah, can I give you an example that might be helpful? So, ayahuasca works in visions where you can see certain things. You can also just have conversation back and forth with yourself. It's like a dialogue while you're in the medicine. It can also take you to different places, like in a dream. And it can also feel really somatic, like the body is like maybe shaking, or you're vomiting, or you're going to the bathroom. It's not what you read on Google. It's so much different. So, like, don't research Google. Look at some other stuff. But I had this one ceremony where I was laying down and my eyes were closed, and I saw all of these chairs being pulled up around me. Like, in my dream, I could see like I'm sitting somewhere and I'm seeing these chairs and people's feet sitting down in the chairs, but I don't see their bodies. And I'm all of a sudden I go, where am I? What are these chairs? And I immediately got a response. This is from the psych ward, all of the circles that you did. Remember in the circles, Lauren? And I had this memory of like, oh my God, I used to, in the psych ward after I was raped and I attempted suicide, we had these like circles where we would talk about things. And I was like, oh my God, that's where I am. And then I look up and I see all the people in the chairs, but they're all really spiritual, beautiful, galactic, different birds and holy women and goddesses and like all these different dimensions of just allies that you would never like Avatar, okay? Like it was just like Avatar. It was so beautiful. And then the next moment, I feel my body and I feel like I'm on a gurney. I'm laying down on a gurney and I'm having all of these tubes of blood like pumping in my body, like a blood transfusion. And I see like one of the beings above me, and it's this beautiful blue bird, and it's so sacred and so gentle and loving. And it reminds me of when I overdosed, when I tried to attempt suicide. And so I'm going through these moments and I'm like, wow, I'm there, but now it's beautiful. And I'm there, but now it's actually like repairing me. And what I heard really strongly was like, we are rebirthing this moment for you so that it no longer holds you back. That was the message I got. We are rebirthing this so that this is no longer your obstacle. And then I sat up and I purged into a little bucket, just like a little purge, and then I felt like a whole new person. And so it's these are some of the things that can happen when you learn to navigate the medicine, but everybody's different. So ayahuasca was really strong. And then I also sat with Kambo, I sat with Bufo, but ayahuasca really to me is at the forefront of my prayers. We bring women to Costa Rica to experience the medicine with my teacher. And I do feel like while it isn't for everybody, it is powerful for everyone who experiences it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've gathered from everyone who's done it.
Yeah.
I was invited to I was invited to a place about a year and a half ago, and I think, what is it like, you kind of like you feel called to go,
Yeah.
and I just wasn't there
Good.
yet.
Good.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And a lot of these places, this is this is not a question you're asking, but it's always important for me to say, please use discretion when you are finding places to go do this work. You need safe space and you need to know what types of questions to ask. There is like a whole training on my website about it because you have to be able to really discern to identify what feels safe for you. And a lot of these places are not properly holding these containers. So, as a woman, especially, always make sure you're careful. And that's good. Maybe you weren't called because it wasn't meant for you. It's
Maybe
not
so.
meant for everybody.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny though, because like there will be times I'm like, okay, why am I the way that I am? Like I'll have that conversation with myself around certain things that I know like are maybe my shadows and dark, just personality traits of myself. And I'm like, maybe I just need to go do it and maybe that'll like go away.
Okay, well, that's
I was
true.
like ego deaths. Like maybe I just need
Good.
an ego death and like just get this shit out of me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Very fascinating,
You
but
can also try other medicines too, right? Like sometimes one medicine doesn't call you because it's not the medicine for you right now. And maybe there's something more gentle like acacia. Acacia is very similar to ayahuasca, but it's like a light medicine with like goddess ancient Egypt vibes. So it has a little bit of a different frequency. So you can always take your time to explore, but if you have parts of you that you just want to get out and get rid of, it definitely does that, but it does that in a way that is so sacred where you actually learn that was never a part of you to begin with.
mm, mm,
It's a
interesting.
story.
Right, a story.
It's just a story, you know? So like getting to that realization,
Mm,
that's huge.
yeah, that is very true. What is can you just share what the combo and bafu
Bufo, yeah.
buffo? Yeah.
Kambo and Bufo are the amphibian medicines of the jungle. And so Bufo is of the desert, Kambo is in the jungle, just to correct myself there, but they are the amphibian medicines of the shamanic realm. And Bufo and Kambo are very different. Bufo is a toad from the desert, and you smoke it. And you go into full-blown DMT. It's very intense. It's not for everybody. I personally love it. It changed my life, but it's something that I've only sat with a handful of times because it is so deep. And combo is a purgative that is used in the jungle to clear your energy and your trapped frequencies. So if there are things within you where you're like, I just got to get it out, like my Lyme disease, sexual trauma, yeah, awareness that something is not yours, going into a medicine that's like kind of purgative, it can be really a beautiful process because you're clearing that out of your body and it gives you that sovereignty and that relationship with it's safe to give up control and let go. That's what it's teaching you. So with combo, it's a slime that exists on the back of this Amazonian frog. And what you do is you wet that slime and you put it on your skin after there's been like some burn marks, these tiny little burn marks. And when that is on the presence of your skin, it actually starts to activate certain systems in your body. The heart begins to beat faster, your face gets flushed, you start to feel really nauseous, you maybe have to go to the bathroom, your skin starts sweating, all these things start moving, and you're clearing energy. I sat with Kambo probably like 100 times in my process of healing from Lyme disease. And I was continuously looking at what aspects of this disease am I purging? It was my relationship with disempowerment, the relationship with my body being attacked, the relationship with not knowing how to advocate for myself, my inability to rest, right? All of those things are from my sexual trauma, but I was processing, why do I do that? Why is that there? And I had a really good teacher to help me unpack those things and track those things. And it's the work I do today where you can get to the core and just like, that's not yours anymore. Let it go. And like really actually do that with Kambo is profound. It's about a 20-minute experience. It's not psychedelic, it's very somatic. It is the medicine of the body, the soma. So it's a warrior medicine too, to remove those obstacles. It's really uncomfortable if you feel disempowered in your body. But if you take the medicine to study your empowerment, it's life changing. Makes you
Mhm.
that like firm, no bullshit kind of
Yeah.
energy. And yeah, it's really beautiful. So yeah, those are the other two medicines, Bufo and Kambo.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I just remember you doing it. Didn't you take like bee sting, like sting yourself
I
with
did these things too. Man, you're making me remember. It's so
I
good.
mean,
It's so good.
I promise I'm not obsessed.
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
it's great. It's so great. Yeah, be
Remember, so I was so intently like following this journey because I'm like, well, I've had like gut issues for a long time, and not that it's the same thing, but I'm like, okay, like I know it's the same thing in the sense of like I know it's from traumas and energy and emotion. So it was just really fascinating watching everything that you were doing.
dude, it was crazy. And I think it's cool that you can identify where that comes from. And also like, um, yeah, if you ever want to talk about that, let me know. Because I have some great sisters who can help like just support you and talk and just really identify if that's ever something that you're looking for. I know for me, like the gut really represents in my awareness, the belly button area is where our bodies first develop an understanding that our energy in our body is connected to someone else's energy in someone else's body. It's the
Mhm.
umbilical cord, right?
Right. Right.
And so if we have this unhealthy relationship with boundaries, with like the boundaries of stress, the boundaries of money, the boundaries of our sisters and our family and our friends and opinions and perspectives, I know that's where all of that lives. It's dignity, which is distorted because something else is taking away my power from that channel. So it's cool to know that and to like be aware, like, oh, that's what that is, right? So yeah, the emotional connections are really important for sure. It's the body saying, I don't feel safe.
Mm-hmm. It all comes back to safety.
It all comes back to see. I was just, it's so weird you're bringing this up because I was just talking to a girl, a student of mine. She's a graduate from Wild Wealthy Feminine. She came back and she's like, I'm convinced I developed a gluten intolerance because I had trauma I wasn't listening to. She literally said that today. So it's just weird. Yeah, that's coming up. It's the
Mm.
body keeps the score.
It does. It does. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. So speaking of body,
Yeah.
you have had an incredible like physical appearance transformation also.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because when I saw your post about it, the coach that I hired, my business and mindset coach back in 2018, she also was starting with the peptides as well. And what is her name? Manifestation Babe was doing it.
Yeah,
Oh,
Catherine.
yeah, Catherine. And I was like, okay. And there was a friend of mine, she's been on a podcast here locally in Atlanta. She's very big into peptides and holistic, like everything. Like she's sat with plant medicine. She's very much. And so like hearing it from her, I've been like leaning in a little bit just because I'm like, okay,
Mm,
there's something like it's not just this like fad or like whatever, right? Like it's not. And so I've been
no.
listening to people that I, look up to more or less. Let's put it that way. And then I'm like, okay, like they're natural. They have so many like spiritual approaches and they're all about healing and all this stuff. And then they're like on this peptide train. And so, anyways, I just want you to speak to
Oh my God,
that
yes.
journey because I would love, yeah, I'm like,
Oh my God, yes. This is of every.
I haven't started doing any of it, but I'm like, I just keep seeing more and more. And I'm like, okay, these like fabulous women, I know that they're really freaking smart. I know they wouldn't do anything stupid, like anything that's like
Mm.
a fad thing and whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so here's what I want to say on that. I have taken the GLP-1 peptide for the last year and 1 month. I have lost a total of 74 pounds that I lost about 30 or 40 of them naturally and then went on the GLP-1. And I had so much physical damage in my body with Lyme disease. Because remember, Lyme disease like buries its spirochetes into your muscles and it alters your strength. And I remember I would like start working out and I couldn't sit on the toilet for like 2.5 weeks. Like my legs would be so sore from like nothing. So I really felt like I needed help, and peptides were an opportunity for me. I have since been able to get a mommy makeover, even though I'm not a mom. I got a tummy tuck, I got a breast lift because I had so much excess skin from everything I lost. And I'm going to tell you from experience, if you tell yourself a story that those things are not spiritual, you are missing out on the truth of these decisions. And for me, being able to advocate for my body to say, actually, there's something that can help me, and I don't really need to struggle to validate my outcomes in my life, right? Like, where did we learn that? That, oh, well, you didn't earn it because it wasn't hard for you? Like
Right.
that's insane to me. And it also was fucking hard. Okay? Like
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was still hard. So I think that if we can look at these things that come our way, whether it's like the GLP-1 peptide, or for me, it was also taking sermorelin, which is a peptide that helps with your muscle repair. And then also looking at, well, what about glutathione? And what about NAD? And what about B12? And these things that come in a bottle and they're in a needle. And that is terrifying and trippy and weird. But maybe I've been seeing these things in that way to really continue to suffer unnecessarily when maybe these things are actually my allies that are coming to me to say, hey, wellness opportunity, hi.
Mm,
And like, am I going to step into that? Or am I going to be like, oh, that's dirty? No, like I have to be able to advocate. And so I knew I was going to get heat because I am a holistic person to the point where I'm a purist. Like, don't give me a tea bag, give me dried chamomile, right? I'm so like natural earth, please. So
yeah.
for me to be taking GLP-1, um, I pissed a lot of people off. And I
Mhm.
also simultaneously got dozens of messages from women who said, thank you so much. Because of you, I felt like I could finally honor what I wanted to do, the permission to be like, I want to do this, but I don't feel like it's okay. Why don't I feel like it's okay? And it's because of programming in society. When I got my tummy tuck done, I did a post about how it was something on Instagram like I thought I was getting a tummy tuck, but what I got was a spiritual awakening and a shamanic experience. That shit got like 5 million views, and the comments
Yeah.
are so insanely beautiful. We need a reason to look at opportunity as supportive and safe and beautiful. And if doing things like this makes you feel supported and safe, that is beautiful. Like, listen to that and trust that. And who cares what anybody else thinks? We demonize everything in the world to keep people stuck and confused. Even social media. Social media is bad. No, it's not actually. But if you tell yourself that story, you'll find that. It's how do you want to see the world? And for me, I want to see the things that give me opportunity as opportunities, not something to be afraid of. So yeah, it changed my freaking life. I have more health and freedom in my world. I work out every day. I go for walks. I do yard work. I pick up heavy things. I feel beautiful. I love getting dressed. I'm happy in my vessel. And I don't think that's because my body looks a certain way. It's because I actually feel like I'm caring for it the way it deserves. So that changes how I see my body. So that's just a point. It's like this is not an art. This doesn't have to be an artificial, superficial storyline. It can be like I want to make my body better. So yeah, 100%. It was amazing, and support anybody who wants to support themselves.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love that. I think that like the programming that I recognize around it is, like, and although, like I said, my local friend, she has explained to me, like, okay, you can like eat 110% clean and work out and do all the things, but you're still exposed to environmental toxins and like
Mm.
all this other stuff, right? And she's like, and it's just not, and just the way the world is nowadays, it's like you just can't you can't run from it, basically. You're always going to be exposed to it. And although I understand that, I think that there is this part of me that is like what you were saying about the hard, right? Like, well, and what I was mentioning about it, oh, is it just like a fad, right? Like, okay, these people are like, will go on Ozempic and they're doing things. What I loved about, let me put it this way, what I loved about you and Catherine and my coach, you all said, okay, I've been working out, I've changed my lifestyle, I've changed my eating habits, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. And like I was like, thank God they're speaking to that too.
Oh,
You
100%.
know, because I feel like, the Ozempic and Mounjaro, like they came in and it was like, okay, well, let me do this to like lose some weight. But I'm like, but you have to fucking change your
Well,
lifestyle. Change it.
I'm so excited we're talking about this because this is the same toxic pattern that exists in every aspect of any type of development, growth, or change. And it's this idea, even with ayahuasca, I'm going to drink this and suddenly my life will be completely different. No, you have to do the fucking work. And I learned that in my medicine practice. And I think that's why my results were so powerful in my physical transformation with GLP-1 because it wasn't just about GLP-1. It wasn't just about ayahuasca and drinking. It was this tool and all these other things that I'm doing to become the embodied reflection of what that tool represents. And so if that for you is like, well, GLP-1, when I think about that, it represents vitality, it represents wellness, it represents a clean energy in my body. You have to do all the things that are an energetic match for that. And for me, it's become a whole new identity, not because of GLP-1, right? It's because of how I was integrating all these lifestyle choices into my own identity. And that was just one of those things that supported it. And it becomes a fad when we have this approach of like kind of the drug, right? Take the drug and it will solve all of your life's problems. It really makes me sad. I know certain people in my awareness who are so obsessed with how they look and they're doing these things because of how they want to look. And then also people who do these things but then don't change anything about their life. It is mind-boggling to me. Like I eat so clean. I eat really healthy. I take great care. I make homemade cookies. They're amazing. I indulge. I have those moments, but I'm balanced in my life. I'm in right relation. You have to be in right relationship with yourself, or else you can't be in right relationship with GLP-1 or anything else. You're going to use it and abuse it and see it as this thing. So it's just, I think
Mm,
we all need to reflect the identity that we are trying to create, which is wellness. And you have to do many different things to make that happen.
God, I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm an advocate, baby. Wellness.
Yeah, I'm advocating. I'm like, let's talk about it because the more exposure, I'm like, okay, maybe I need some like NAD, maybe I need something like,
Yeah, NAD is great. NAD is beautiful. Glutathione is amazing. I mean, I hate the shots because it's a very viscous liquid, so it kind of you have to go really slow and it just feels kind of like eh. But for the results, glutathione is huge. Huge for detoxifying the body. It advocates for the liver to flush. So if you've ever been like a heavy drinker, using glutathione for support is huge. Glutathione's also a precursor for the development of certain hormone processes in our body, like insulin and like I think are the reproduction of like certain aspects of our endorphins. So when glutathione is good, all those other things start to work really well. And yeah, even your blood sugar. So it's a good and important tool.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. Okay, I have one more question for you.
Yeah, let's do it.
Just like a minute. Because of your, like I was saying, like you're so vulnerable online, right? And you
Mhm.
talk, you even point out things, family wounds, parental things like that. And what, like, I guess, how does your family respond to, or how have they in the past when you first started
Hmm.
doing it? Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I don't really ask them at all what they think about my work,
Yeah.
you know? And we don't really talk about it much. My mom has gotten upset with me, of course, okay. I went to go spend time with my grandma in Florida, and my mom was there, and I did a post about something. I was like a joke about tattoos and how everybody in my family judges me because they have tattoos. And my mom was so upset. She's like, I never said anything once. I'm like, Mom, it was a trending real idea. It was not based in any information of what happened. I was making a joke. So she's really personal about it. She gets really sensitive, but that's because she's aware that she made a lot of mistakes and she is processing that. And so when I'm talking about like, yeah, I didn't get the love I needed as a child. I didn't get the support I needed as a child. I grew up in a dysfunctional, abusive household. My dad was gay and never actually told anybody. And my mom was silent and let him verbally abuse the whole family and never took care of us in that way to protect. Like that's how I grew up. But that's my life. And I don't need to hide that or keep that in any sort of shame closet for the fear of upsetting them. It's, I remember I had a conversation with my mom in the early days. I said, Mom, I just want you to know I'm going to be dedicating my life to helping other people who've struggled the way that I have. And I'm going to be talking about some of those struggles. And some of those struggles may make you uncomfortable. But I want you to know I am in right relationship with all these things and I love you. I just need to share this to help others. And that conversation, it was so like,
Mm.
it was beautiful. She also said, I don't understand why you still have to share all of that. Like, keep it personal. And she didn't get it. But now she kind of does, you know? So I think it's been hard. My dad is very like has a narcissistic pattern of trauma response from his own difficult life, and I have so much compassion for the both of my parents and what they've been through in their world. But he doesn't even acknowledge it. And that for me, I think was really difficult for a long time because I was seeking his approval and his love. But I've since learned like I don't actually need that. And I can love my dad for who he is and have boundaries and be in right relation and that's it. But yeah,
Mm.
I'm not gonna fucking hide or hold anything that I'm not wanting to. You know,
Yeah.
who
Mm.
cares? And that is like that's so healing when you get to do that as a child and be like, I'm going to share how my life was. I'm going to actually talk about how my life was. And that is so repairing because as children, we didn't have that opportunity. Like we went through hard times with nobody to talk to.
Mm.
Everybody normalized our pain. Everybody said, oh, deal with it. Stop having a pity party. Plenty of people have it worse than you. Anything you've ever heard. So we have the power to really make space for us to acknowledge simply by telling the story.
Mm. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, me too. And I love it. I love the way you do it in your life and the things you share. And I'm so grateful that we as women can all be doing this together. It's really amazing. So, yeah, thank you for holding this space and this conversation. It was amazing, truly.
It was. Thank you for, yeah, thank you. Like, yes, all of that. I really am. Well, share where people can find you and
Sure. Of course. So, Instagram, obviously, Lauren of Love, very very easy to find. And I would also say for anybody who is resonating with any of the topics that we talked about, we're going to have a new podcast being released soon, which I definitely have to bring you back on. Stumbling on my words because I'm at the end of my day, but yeah, it's going to be really powerful. Spirit said to me, I'm really excited. It's going to be a whole series of women following their truth and saying fuck it to the rules. It's going to be so good to have you. So, everything that I offer with that podcast and all of the other courses that I've mentioned here, and my programs and my retreats, all on laurenoflove.com. So, Lauren of Love everywhere. The end.
amazing. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you again for being here. I'm so grateful. So
Thank
grateful.
you, Mama.